succeed in education space, go for it. I just wish I knew sooner that it wasn't. I'm taking my wins and losses in the stock market. I'm more focused because I don't want to lose like I did last year, but I have a lot to learn. Like today, it wasn't bad, and I think I can save myself. But so, and you know Nvidia, right? My laptop has an Nvidia thing in here. Their earnings is next week, and basically they're in the SPY, which is the ETF, which contains like the 500 best companies, and the QQQ, Invesco QQQ. Nvidia's in both of those, and I use both of those as a method to track the general stock market. So basically, if the SPY and QQQ are doing well, then that means their basket of their top 10 are probably doing really well, and Nvidia is in the top 10, both of them. So basically, let's compare Nvidia to, they're basically in the same league as Microsoft, Tesla, Apple, Google. They're in that top 10. So if that means if SPY and QQQ are doing well, then very good likelihood Nvidia is doing well. And lo and behold, they're doing well. But my problem is I sold a covered call on it today. I figured I'll tell you, because at least I can tell someone and tell what exactly I'm going to do in the morning. And I'm going to buy back my covered call so I can keep my call. Because I have to pay off my student loans. And so my intention is to do well enough in Stonks, pay off my student loans, and then be truly debt-free and financially free. Student loans are no joke. If I could go back, like I say, I wouldn't go back and change anything about what happened in the past, because honestly, I think I'm happy with everything I've experienced in life. But if I were to go back and change a couple things, I think going to college would be one of them. I could have focused my time on working and then made more money and then maybe even get into Stonks sooner, but I didn't know at the time. I didn't know that it would be so accessible. But anyways, it's been a while since I talked about school. And I always tell myself that I think I'm actually smarter than I am, but but I think on the surface level I feel dumb. Anyways, I don't think I took any philosophy classes in college. I took mostly what did I mostly take? I mostly took general education. I had some science classes, some math, some English. I took a jiu-jitsu class. That was cool. Learned how to do no sotogari and several throws. I became a purple belt. I know some moves, mostly Tekken moves. I learned how much they hurt. They don't do that much damage in Tekken, but in real life they hurt. I had this little, I'm not sure if you can hear it, I have this crack in my wrist because of numerous hand throws, Teinagi, from my sensei. And I would always literally take the fall. You push your hand this way, and either you let them break your hand or you fall to the ground. So sometimes it was pretty forceful. But that's why I have this little crack in my wrist forever. Working on my master's in education. So you're trying to teach then, in general. That's cool. Osoto Garis. So I remember that's the leg sweep throw, like that what's his name? Goro Daimon has in King of Fighters, where you grab them by their arm or lapel and then you sweep them with your leg. I think. I'm forgetting some of the names, but I think that's what it was. Osoto Gari, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. The leg is supposed to help them fall. In jiu-jitsu, my sensei always said it was the helping art, I think, is what they called it. And so basically you're helping them get to the ground, or basically helping themselves subdue themselves. But if they want to resist, then you can get wrecked pretty hard. It had its fun. I just didn't, I don't know if I could do it more for like beyond, I think I did it for about 2 years. We got to pay the bills, and However you want to do that, that becomes a question of how, if if you can budget it, how will you do it, and how long do you think it'll take you to do it? But let me read you some. Taking some courses online. Okay. So it's almost like you're on your own. You're kind of on a time limit, in a ways, for lack of better phrasing. I think, as long as you feel like you're doing well, then you will. I don't think you should ever doubt your potential. I think I'm more capable, but I put myself at a limit where I know that I can succeed. So I don't try to do too much, but I want to succeed in the things I can already do well. You know what I'm saying? So if you're already doing something and you think you're doing well at it, then just keep going. Well, because I think for college, like community college, which is where I did all my schooling basically up until I stopped, I think I felt like I was in a comfort zone only because I only needed to, what was I doing? I was still living at home with my parents, and it was just before I picked up my job at Costco, but I was just like, well, I have student loans. I can survive, right? I was misusing student loans for other things. Let's just put it that way. I mean, I did pick up some side jobs here and there, and I also learned how to do 5-6 stuff, and I thought, well, if I could do that, then maybe this is a good enough a job. But then the income wasn't like sufficient enough to be like, well, I can't imagine if I have to live like I am right now, but with my budget back then I'd be in serious trouble. Because I was basically living off of student loans and the fact that I was still living at home. It certainly is. I think the best we can do is just try to learn from others, and then also learn to, be better for ourselves. Like, I'm happy I've worked at my job for like the last 11 years, so I'm blessed for that. So now I need to succeed at in my other areas of life. Also, while staying healthy and staying alive, and then I can go and travel to Japan like I want to after the pandemic is over, or when they lift mask mandates, or when they lift travel bans. This is a good talk. I hope it helped you get some things off your chest. For me, I think a lot goes on in my head, and if I don't say it out loud, then I'll look like a crazy person. Yeah. So what am I trying to do, though? This month, I'm trying to finish this video for next week, but then I'm going on vacation next week. But what else does that mean for me? It's almost my anniversary at Costco for the actual 11th year. Yeah, for sure. I think the problem with a lot of people who feel like they have problems like in their life is they're not putting it in front of themselves and admitting that maybe this is something that I should handle, or maybe that this is something I can either improve upon or make better or find a solution to. I'm the type of person who tries to find a solution even when it's not my own problem, and that's kind of helped me in some areas, but it's also hurt me in some areas too, because sometimes there's some problems that aren't actually your problem. Sometimes the person who you're trying to help, they need to figure it out on their own. But if it's your own problems, then you can't really run away from them, because the more you do, the more it's just like, man, why am I struggling? I think when it comes to like goals or dreams, for me, I didn't really have any. That's where I feel like the screw up. But I didn't want to be like a bum, or I didn't want to have like a life without meaning. But I guess I felt like whenever I was asked that question, or I felt like, so what are your aspirations, or anything like that, I didn't really have like a good answer because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I guess I just wanted to be happy, but it's like it's a broad, all-encompassing question, isn't it? Yeah, I don't regret that. I don't regret, learning fight stick stuff. Honestly, fighting game community stuffs are what really. I'm really happy that I have been a part of the fighting game community. I'm not saying it's over or anything. I'm just saying that, of course, as you get older, you look back on things and you're like, man, I'm so glad I went through all of that. Or I'm so glad I did that because not only did you have stories to tell, but you made a lot of friends along the way, you know? I mean, I knew you since middle school, but I met Final Form because I streamed. Actually, I forget the first game Final Form came in here for, but I've been streaming mainly Dance Dance Revolution. Dance Dance Revolution. But as far as goals for me, yeah, like I didn't really have any. But I at least wanted to live a life that I could be happy with. So I was just like, well, I can live on my own and not worry about my parents. So I decided to move out and just move in with people I can trust. Oh, nice. You see, my fight stick career was for nothing. Wasn't for nothing. It was for nothing. No, it was for sure a great learning experience for me because I'm actually because playing on fight stick was actually one of my first dreams growing up as a kid. I was like, man, I always wanted one of those, but I was too broke to like have a good stick. And then once I finally could afford a nice Mad Cat stick, I felt like, wow, this is great. I feel like I can do anything now. They're like, well, now you gotta face good players and actually beat them. Yeah. Yeah. 2012. Marvel was an amazing, an amazing thing to happen in 2010s. I don't think I'm sad. I think there were other periods of time when I knew I was sad, but that's only because I felt like I could do more for the people around me. But since I don't really, I'm not saying I don't focus on other people. I'm still glad I have people I could say who are friends. Yeah. I think the cool thing about fighting games is that it also kind of it's not just fighting games like, man, I just want to play people at Street Fighter or anything like that. It kind of it's like a deeper dive into an avenue of other interests, you know? So yes, like say if you tell this random stranger I play fighting games, they'll always just ask, oh, so you play Mortal Kombat, or oh, you play Street Fighter, and then I was just like, yeah, Street Fighter, but with Marvel characters that you can place on teams. And then from there, you tell them about the cool things you did in tournament, or I went so and so I can play fighting games. I traveled to another country just so I can play fighting games, or I met my girlfriend at the time because she was friends with someone who played fighting games. Things like that. You have stories like that, right? Those are my stories. And then there was always like something every year for me for Evo that made the experiences super special. This is gonna go on my lore channel. First it was a Captain Jack frustration stream. Now it's let's go put our life goals in perspective here, and let's also let's sprinkle in some FGC goodness. I'll find some good stuff to piece together. But yeah, fighting games. So when you learn stick, you also learn that the controllers themselves haven't changed very much for the last 25 years, but they are very heavily influenced by the consoles themselves. So basically, everything before there was ever a home button didn't need anything else other than directionals, face buttons, and 2 or 4 more shoulder buttons. That did not need a change up until the PS3 era. Yep. In fact, they didn't need to change much up until, well, let's see. Because the GameCube was part of the PS2, Xbox original era. So most fighting games were being played on the PS2. So they weren't even playing much of them on PC at the time. Because rollback was still on like GGPO or something, and they didn't really figure out good internet. We didn't get good internet until mid 2010s or something, and we got 5K and all that stuff. Yo, that was a weird time too. We played Brawl for a short time. I totally forgot about that. That was fun traveling for places for that. That was Brawl for me was the in-between period from Tekken and Tatsunoko vs Capcom. That's where Brawl falls in. Old design of the Horis. Oh, you really like that? I always thought it was kind of odd, but then again, the May flash sticks took after it. I just didn't like how angled it was. I'm okay with those buttons there, but I like the usual perfectly curved layout. Because actually on my original Tekken 5 Hori stick, the one I got top 8 with Tatsunoko with, well, it was a Tekken 5 Hori, and I actually made it so that the L1, L2 buttons you're mentioning there, Final Form, were blocked by artwork. I always hated the look of hole plugs, so I always was like, why don't I just cover it with a lemon label artwork? And I did. And that's how I made my fight stick 6-button only. I was a 6-button only dude for a while. I was just like, these other 2 buttons don't need to exist. But then later on, they were actually pretty useful in like training mode and stuff. But yeah, if you think about it, most fighting games don't need more than 6 buttons. But when you're in training mode or doing anything else, then the other 2 buttons become pretty nice. Actually, there are a small handful of games that didn't need 8 buttons, but you could. Like, what was one of them? PlayStation All-Stars was one of them, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was another. Those 2 are ones that you could actually use the 8 buttons for if you really needed to. Because for Marvel Infinite, it was the Easy Hyper Combo and the Storm, like your dedicated Power Stone Storm or Space Storm or whatever. Which also was level 3 super if you had Storm activated already. And then in PSA, PlayStation All-Stars, I think he used it for grabbing items or something and throwing. Yeah. Otherwise, 6-button, I think there was someone in the Shoryuken threads who had like a stupid quote saying like 6 buttons is godlike, 8-button is dick or something. I was like, okay. I mean, you really only do need 8 buttons. But what if you're good at using your ring and pinky fingers, huh? What about those? They're not that useless, are they? Yeah. It's funny, on my business card I still have my Shoryuken handle on there. I mean, that's where most of my like usernames ever come from, because usually RoyalFlush is always taken, but if I add TVC or TZ at the end, then it's usually available. So on Shoryuken.com I was RoyalFlush TZ, so that's why on my PSN I'm RoyalFlush TZ. But here I'm RoyalFlush TVC because I think back when Twitch was called Justin.tv, I at least wanted people to associate my name with Tatsunoko at the time instead of Tekken. Even though there's still a handful of Tekken people I follow who still know me for Tekken. And that's where they're like, yo, Tekken Zaibatsu. I didn't want to be RoyalFlush. That's arcade. It's funny though, there was actually another RoyalFlush on SRK, but they spelled their name with a PH, like what's a name? What's a word with PH? Like Ralph. Ralph, but you take out the Ralph. There you go. That's the first. I don't know why that was the first thing I came up with. I could have said the Philippines. Or fat. He's fat. But no, he was a HD Remix Super Street Fighter 2 HD Remix Ken player. And I was just like, well, I'm the Marvel player / Tatsunoko player / Tekken 5 player. Yeah. But anyways, in the current scheme of things, my current goals are be godlike at my options trading by earning $750 every week, which so far I am 1 for 1 at does the start of this month. So now I gotta do it this month or this week, and I'm gonna do that by buying Tesla calls and puts, and day trading them, and then making this video, Captain Jack, and then making it to next week so I can go on vacation there. 3 goals. I think if you make your goals big but reasonable, then you'll be happy that you put them out in front of you. The same way you have dreams that you want to succeed, think of the goals as more of like the stepping stones toward those dreams. I want to be able to prove myself that I can make more money than buying a lottery ticket or working forever. Even though I still would like to work, even if I am rich. Yep.